I was about to do my part.
Yo,
I
so
can't.
yeah,
I
the
can't. I
stream
can't,
decided
bro.
to pause you.
Did it?
Yeah, it's like real quick. It was like,
Okay.
and then
It
I was
doesn't.
like, yo,
It doesn't matter. Nobody's here for the first 30 seconds of this part anyway. But the red light is on, which means we are live. We are back for part two for the Road to SummerSlam. The Road to SummerSlam show, gentlemen, did very, very well. So we're doing it again. There's a part two. There's a lot we have to dissect, but don't get it twisted. We are not here to break down SummerSlam. That will be saved for our SummerSlam preview show. But the build-up, the road, there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. And guess what? The realm is back, and
mm-hmm.
tonight we will answer every last one of those questions. At least we'll try to. Right after this, let's get it.
Houston, we have a problem.
What you gonna do? 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 What you gonna do?
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the Wrestling Realm Now podcast, where we take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Now, you can watch all of our Wrestling Realm content anytime on youtube.com/the Wrestling Realm. I am your host, yours truly, the man, the myth, the legend, the realness himself, the real Dwayne Allen. He is your host, Brian H. Hollywood, Brian H. Waters, the Jack Daddy. He's your host, the Belt King, Brandon, the guy in the building. And conspicuous by his absence, he is your host, Brother Hugh, H to the A to the S, T to the H to the E, 3 to the R, to the D, Brother Hugh. He will be joining us shortly. No, it's just listen to me, because if anybody knows you were yellow and red. Now you are black, white, and silver. Hollywood Brian H. But you can follow us on all social media platforms: Instagram, Twitter. Are we calling it X yet? Mine's still
No.
Bird on. Okay.
No,
so
I'm not calling it X.
I refuse. Pretty soon we're going to be saying follow us on Instagram,
Still a baby.
Threads. No, it may be in your heart. Threads and Facebook at Wrestle Rum. 2 W's. Like, subscribe, and engage in the conversation with us. You can also stream and download all of our audio content on Anchor, Stitcher, Podbean, Pocket Cast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. You would think by now I have that memorized, but guess what? I don't.
Hey, the chat is on fire.
Oh, here we go. See, this is how we like to start things off. Watch and subscribe to our Twitch channel at The Wrestling Realm. If you want to support The Wrestling Realm, that's right. We have a website and we sell merchandise. Bam! WrestlingRealm.com. Shop now at WrestlingRealm.com. As you can see up there, it says it. For proud wrestling fan t-shirts, Jack Daddy Brian H t-shirts right here. Look at this. Bam! Look at that merchandise. As well as this. This is our latest. This is one of our latest drops. This is one of our most popular things that we have right now. A logo pattern after one of the original, if not the original, Monday Night Raw logos. That's right. We got a retro vibe to it. So if you want to support the brand and you want to be a part of the Wrestling Realm, or at least look like it, head over to WrestlingRealm.com. We have hats. No, we don't. We have mugs. We have crew necks. We have hoodies. We have all types of things and so much more to come. But guess what? You can't get it if you don't head over to WrestlingRealm.com and support. That's right. We need this to pay some bills. We can't do anything if we can't afford to do it. God dang it. So support us. WrestlingRealm.com. Merchandise, branding, all the above. Not only do we have merchandise, guess what? We have a Patreon. That's right. Subscribe to our Patreon channel. It's patreon.com/wrestling_realm for all exclusive shows and bonus material. There are things we can't say on the live show. There are stories we can't tell, but guess what? Brian H. starts plenty of them. He writes about them as well. Also, there's a number of different things that are coming exclusively to patreon.com, but we're trying to get our subscribers up. You can subscribe for just as low as $1. That's right. Patreon.com/wrestling_realm. But guess what, though? Not only that, we have sponsors as well, so we have to take care of the business. SeatGeek.com. If you are looking to purchase tickets to concerts, live shows, sporting events, and more, head over to SeatGeek.com, where you can purchase promo. You can use our promo code Wrestling Realm. That's right. To save yourself $20 on any one-time purchase of $50 or more. So if you have never been a SeatGeek and you have never purchased tickets, ladies and gentlemen, tickets cost a buttload of money anyway. Save yourself $20 by using promo code Wrestling Realm. Yes, SeatGeek.com. Use that promo code. Save yourself a couple dollars. Do yourself a favor. It's the summer's not quite over yet. We have SummerSlam coming up. There's a few live shows. We still got some concerts. We still got some summer nights, jazz festivals and stuff that's in the area.
Beyonce ticket.
What's the tour called? Who knows? But if you want to see, I guess I can't keep up. You said the marathon, Nipsey Hussle?
I said Renaissance.
My bad, brother. I didn't hear you. Okay. But yeah, if you want to purchase tickets, save yourself a couple dollars. If you have never used this promo before, any one-time purchase, get $20 off of that purchase using promo code WrestlingRealm.com. Well, now that we've gotten that all out the way, Usually I would hit the button, but you know what? I'm just gonna do it anyway. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Championship Culture featuring Brandon, the guy. That's right. The Belt King himself has brought his brand over to the wrestling realm, and he has done a magnificent job of taking belt culture and bringing it to the forefront on this platform. That's right, brother. So, brother Brandon, first of all, appreciate you bringing the brand over, because I'm gonna tell you right now, I said this to the group text earlier. The ratings are up, the views are increasing daily, and it has a lot to do with championship culture. But speaking of championship culture, brother Brandon, can you tell the people what this show was? You go every Tuesday, correct?
Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. You can always go back to the Wrestling Realms page on YouTube and see the whole playlist of championship culture if you happen to miss a Tuesday at 8 p.m. where there's always a new episode uploading. But this week, this past Tuesday, I recapped a whole weekend of wrestling that I had. But when we get to the streets, it was a weekend. It was a lot of wrestling and a lot of wrestling related content. So I would encourage you, if you're interested to see, and I always say every belt has a story, all I'm gonna do is hold this one up, because since Brian H. Waters wants to be showing off a thank you somebody shirt,
thank you, Trish, the GOAT.
I'm gonna just leave this here so you can see. I don't know if you know, 5-time Impact champion, but
James wrote you a love letter.
She definitely wrote. I was about to say she wrote you like a whole paragraph.
But it's a video footage of her signing it. So if you want to know who this 11-time world champion is inside, this TNA knockout belt, which is pretty. It's a pretty belt. Check out Championship Culture, the last episode of a whole weekend of wrestling. It definitely didn't disappoint. Stick around to the end because there's a special message that was kind of close to my heart, and I was able to help another person add another story to that belt. So check that out on our YouTube channel whenever you get a chance, especially after you watch the Wrestling Realm now tonight.
That's what the Belt King does. And if I was a betting man, it's either one or two people that signed that title. It's got to be either Gail Kim or Mickey James. But guess what? If you want to find out for sure, head over to youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm. Like you said, he has a playlist, Championship Culture playlist, where you can binge watch on all the previous shows and content. Trust me, it's great stuff. If you're a wrestling fan and you understand how important championship titles and culture is to the community, trust me, it's on the platform. So shout out to you, brother Brandon. Like I said, and ratings are up, man. It's ridiculous. What's up, Dylan Matthews is in the building?
Let's address the chat real quick.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let's just jump into it right now. Go ahead.
Yeah, we got Dylan in the we got to come up with a jingle for that or whatever they call it.
Yeah, we got to have a segment for
that. Yeah, Dylan in the building. Shout out to my aunt.
Hey,
Kelly in the building. Her and my uncle Troy. I think they on vacation, so give him a little wrestling talk. She says she about to get hers in black. So I'm assuming that's one of the shirts. Love the intro. That's a real Dwayne Allen special right there. He one day just showed up like, yo, look what I just did. Like, oh, okay. You already know who that is. That's Queen PR. Shout out to her. We know Krista B is in Jamaica, so we definitely sending love and prayers her way. Oh, shout out to the homie Ed Frost 2002. Said that looks slick. What size do they go up to? The shirts, that is. I'm not sure. I think 4 or 5X.
Yeah, I think we this time when we created the shirts, we made sure that they went all the way up to I guess the high size available. So I think it does go up to 4 and 5X for the t-shirts. Maybe not for the crew necks, but the t-shirts are available. Like I said, it's definitely got retro vibes, Monday Night Raw feels to it. And like I said, I mean, why not? If you want to support the brand, why not look cool in the process? You feel me?
Hey, I'm just saying. I think one of them might be making an appearance in New York this Saturday.
In New York.
Yeah, shout out, reveal my outfit. Shout out to Dylan Matthews. He said the Wrestling Wrealm is up and they want the smoke.
Bro, Dylan Matthews is all the way in Australia and he's faithfully here first.
Yes.
he's here before we are a lot of times, man. So definitely shout out to Dylan.
Dylan be riding the whole wave on Wednesdays.
It's Thursday for him.
Yeah.
He's in the future.
There
He's
you go.
literally
Exactly.
in the future watching the Wrestling Wrealm.
He come through the fan club. He come through the Twitter sphere. Dylan been everywhere. So I actually met Dylan through
Brian,
previous
do you
show.
need
Previous
do you need
what?
a belt to travel with on Saturday?
Come on, man. This is the trolling I'm talking about.
Do you need a belt that
Like, why?
travels? I have the Wrestling Wrealm traveling belt if you need
I got
one.
mine. Mine's got to get out there too.
Okay, you want all right? Because I just wanted to make sure if we need a traveling belt. If anybody needs to borrow a belt.
I'm wondering why it hasn't found its way to its rightful owner.
I don't know.
It felt like Stone Cold trying to get the remember when Austin was trying to get the WWF
the Smoker Skull title back? Yeah, bro, that's how I feel right now.
It looks good sitting next to his brother, doesn't it? Look,
you know how The Rock used to come out with the Smoker Skull belt, just cut promos like it was his,
and he had a funeral for it.
It's ridiculous, man. It's when I used to live on that side of town, the title would have been in my possession a lot longer. But
I was gonna say real quick about that moment you just brought up. Think about like '99. That was one of the best follow-ups after Mania. You know how after Mania usually stuff starts slowing down, but 98, 99, they was cooking. You can even say 2000.
I don't think it cooled off because SummerSlam heated right back up, didn't it?
Yeah, they kept it going the whole time. The business was just hot.
What a time to be alive. That's why I say wrestling owes me nothing.
Yeah. All right, real quick. I know we gotta talk current stuff, but I saw something on Twitter, and I want to get your opinion of it.
Well, let's do. Oh, hold on, real quick. Before you hold that real quick. I just want one more.
I'm gonna forget this one.
It must be a doozy. I want to give a special shout out once again, because when you said going to New York, I was about to say. Speaking of New York, we want to spend a very, very special thank you to Janelle from HR from the Jobber Tears podcast, as well as Battle Club Pro for joining us last week for our Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast party. We had a blast. We had a fun time, and I think, brothers, we haven't missed yet. Everyone has been on the show has been extremely lit, have been extremely fun, and guess what? They have stayed not only for the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast party, they stuck around for Wrestling Wrealm After Dark. That's right. When the lights go out and the show is officially stopped, there's another show that goes down, and she was such a good sport, man. She like she definitely came back. Like this is a big weekend for her in Battle Club Pro, as well as the Jobber Tears podcast, and she's done so much in the wrestling industry. So if you're not familiar with Janelle from HR from the Jobber Tears podcast and Battle Club Pro, please get yourself familiar with her. She's an amazing young lady that's done some great things, and we just want to say thank you for being on our show last week, taking the time out of your busy schedule. We know everything coming up, but this is a big weekend for her and the crew. So I just wanted to make sure we shouted her out before
they gave us a shout out Thursday on their live show.
Oh, good. See, I didn't. Yeah, I got to go back and watch it because I didn't catch it. But
yeah, Thursdays at 2 p.m. they are live. I usually catch it on Facebook. Usually while I'm in post production. But yeah, they doing their thing. One thing I will say this, I'm gonna make it very loud and clear. This Saturday, I am on Team Sir Wilkins. The brother will get it done. 2-0, baby. Let's get it done. Sorry, Simon Miller. Simon's my guy, but Sir Wilkins. Sir Wilkins.
I got no problem. I'm on, shout out to also our good brothers, Sir Wilkins and Mr. Black of the Jobber Tears podcast. Sir. But I don't trust you, Brian H. It's because the last time you went up, the last time I remember you being in New York and you showed up a face, but you left as a heel.
Well, see,
but if you have a mystery opponent, which I said is going to be Brian H. Waters, but I'm just
definitely not.
It's somebody
that's what the person who is the mystery opponent would say.
Well,
that is true, man. I watched Scooby-Doo and his gang of cartoon teenagers would have said the same thing.
Well, I'm probably the only person here that didn't watch Scooby-Doo. The only thing I remember Scooby-Doo is Scooby-Doo WrestleMania. Come
on, and you watched that with the children. That wasn't even yours. It's like That was like a decade
That
ago.
was the
Scooby
kids.
Doo.
That was you
Like,
being a dick.
you got
Mhm.
exactly. You got that for the children, for my freaking godchildren. That's what you did.
Well,
My
one
niece and
wasn't
nephew.
born yet, but yeah,
Yeah,
of
she
course.
was. Yeah, because she was. Jonathan had to been about what?
4.
Yeah, that was almost a decade plus ago. Like
Yeah, it
2012.
14.
Okay, yeah, okay. I knew it was around sometime we graduated. It was all a blur after a while.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I know. But yeah, nah. Vax is nah. See, the last time I never declared. I just said I was going to make sure everything was handled.
Mhm.
And I went there and I just reminded Bougie that every time I'm in the building, he's undefeated. You know, he has a 4-0 record when I'm in the building, and I reminded him of that. And it was 3-0 at the time. It's now 4-0. So
You know what I hear when you say stuff like that? All I hear is, "All you fans throwing all this trash in the ring, you all can stick it, brother. I told you to say your prayers and eat your vitamins." So that's what I'm hearing right now. Just hear a lot of heel tactics. But you know what though, Brian, we're not gonna make this about you, brother. We're not gonna put you in a hot seat, even though there is a very special guest that Janelle said was supposed to be showing up that we don't know what's going on. It may have international implications. Would you? And we try to get her to break last week and say something, but it didn't work.
She's good. She's real good. And we're
She's
trained
solid.
journalists. All 3 of us here are trained journalists. People don't realize that.
That's
All of
true.
us have degrees in broadcast journalism or television production. We took the classes. We know what we're doing.
And none of those tactics work. So I don't know. She's solid. She stayed solid. I respect that. But we're going to find out Saturday. Sooner rather than later. Do you know who runs Battle Club Pro social media?
It's either her or Joaquin.
Okay,
Joaquin Morales. Shout out to him.
I'll be sticking close. I'm going to miss the show this Saturday. But Brandon, are you still undecided about what you're going to do Saturday?
Yeah, I haven't figured it out yet because my belt might have to make
Nope.
an
See,
appearance.
there you go.
I haven't. I'm sorry. I don't know yet. I might have to hit 95. I don't know yet. I will definitely let you know on Friday. Because if I do, it'll be sitting front row, so that way if you see all the clips, you'll see.
I mean, maybe I could take it to SummerSlam next weekend.
You know what? That would be good.
Once again, what's going on? I don't see. This is. I'm first of all, I'm being bombarded right now, right? Because I hear you guys, and then I look over, I see my child left a note like, Can you remind?
You gotta.
It literally says, "Can you remind my mom to fix me coffee tomorrow?" Like, why you leave me notes before I'm gonna get on the show? Look at that. That's what happens. So this is, you see why I can't, like, this is
The youngest one?
Yeah. So I got
drink coffee? Nephew drink coffee?
I don't, not really, but he's, he wants to taste every goddamn thing his mama got.
Cousins do. They drink it like faithfully.
Well, see, that's how my cousins were. They grew up, they was throwing it down like it was hot chocolate. That was, Now my mother told me I was too active for coffee, so she refused. That and chocolate. She's like, no, you're not getting none of that. But yeah, I'm sorry. You guys talk about passing my title around. I got a note over here talking about coffee tomorrow morning. I can't. This is too much. You see, this is why I don't have my title now. It's a lot going on.
I see.
But if there's a lot that's going on, it's definitely this road to freaking SummerSlam. But tonight, good brothers.
I'm sorry, brother. Before you go to the road to SummerSlam, I would be remiss if I did not mention that on Monday night, our brother Lindbergh had.
Oh yes, you was on the show.
Yeah.
Yes, I have to talk about it. Shout out to Lindbergh for actually.
Shout out to.
I ruined one of the cardinal rules. I knew that we were recording Monday night for Tuesday morning, and I said, "How are you this evening?" I'm doing good. I said, "Oh, I broke kayfabe, so I apologize, brother. I broke your cardinal rule."
Terrible,
but it's going to be on. It aired on Tuesday morning. It's actually a two-parter on 103.3 to go, and his show is called Inside the Huddle with Lindbergh. He had me as a special guest, and I can tell you, thank you, brother, for having me. It was definitely level 10 the whole time. I was hyped. He was hyped. And now I had to do an hour time versus his time. So 11 o'clock at night, you talking about burning the midnight oil.
He has no problems. Lynn has no problem. And Lynn, I have not forgotten about you, brother. We owe you a Wrestling Room t-shirt. We're definitely going to get it to you. I was just going over that today when I was going over the books financially. We're definitely going to make sure that you get your t-shirt. I'm trying to figure out a way where every time we have a guest on the Wrestling Realm Now podcast party that we kind of give them a t-shirt, just, in good faith. So we're trying to work that out. But Lynn, I haven't forgotten about you, brother. But also, like I said, shout out to Lynn Burton, to Lynn, and Brother Brandon. How was the show? I know you just broke down and stuff like that, but how did you enjoy yourself on the show? Because Lynn is, like I said, Lynn is one of us. That's why we call him the honorary realm, because he gets in the gang, and it's like It's like that cousin that comes over and then you can't tell who's all cousins because you all act like siblings. It's like, where's the mama at? And it's like, no, it doesn't matter. Whoever the woman is, she's the mama, whether the mama or the auntie.
Well, I can appreciate that his show is high energy, high impact, and it wasn't about what happened on Monday Night Raw. It was more about the status of wrestling or what's your thoughts on certain things within wrestling. You know, he asked me about AEW, how do I feel about it? What is the difference in like Dynamite and Collision? He asked me certain things. So it was the thing he even asked about my history. I shared the story about how I met Brian H. Waters, kind of embarrassed him a little. If you want to hear that story,
yes.
Wait a minute. Whoa,
yes.
Wait.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Then we talked about the belt story and my my favorite belt. And come to find out, it was one of his favorites. And he asked me, of course, about belts. And then we went on to talk about some factions throughout the years in history. We ranked them, so it was a good time and got to see. We almost was on the same wavelength with some things, but I will tell you, if you have a chance to check out Lindbergh, if you want to know about anything, comics, wrestling, anime, he's got it. He's the man.
Big time. Did you guys get a chance to talk about anything else outside of wrestling? Because trust me, you'll be there for 6 hours talking to Lynn about all kinds of things.
We did table that. He said he wanted to get me on the other show where they talk about comics, but I gave him the disclaimer. I'm a DC guy right now. If I have to talk about Marvel, I'm gonna go all the way back to the 90s. And you know, but he was like, "Oh,
the golden era."
Yep, because I've been a DC fan probably for the last 20 years, probably closer. So
a faithful one, even through good, bad, or indifferent. Sorry, Brian. I know you don't know anything about this right now. This is when Brian starts tuning us out.
But I think let's go into the
Brian starts doing social media stuff. He starts.
Yeah.
No, that's not definitely. Shout out. I'm glad you definitely caught it. And also shout out to did Brother Hugh make it to Drew's show? Drew Willingham's?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
It just popped up.
Yeah. Because I looked up, I was like, oh shoot, I didn't realize he was... So shout out to Brother Hugh. Like I said, he's just take some time to get himself situated. You know, everybody needs to take some time to, you know, regroup and, you know, recharge their batteries. So he's on a well-deserved break, man, but he'll be back sooner rather than later. So we definitely appreciate you, Brother Hugh, getting your good rest. But definitely shout out to you and your time on the In or Out Sports Debate with our good brother, another honorary member, Drew Willingham. The man has gone through so much and such a talented individual. So I can't wait till we get Drew for the podcast, Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast party. It's going to be a blast. So you talking about the king of shenanigans? I thought we were bad until I ran into Drew Willingham, man. So definitely shout out to him and the In or Out Sports Debate.
And then he throw effects on there. It's a wrap.
Bro,
boom, the fly.
Him and Sir Toba Media, because it's the struggle is real to be awesome. So definitely check that out. So see, this is what I'm talking about, man. This is how it's supposed to be, the brotherhood. Just making it happen, man. Everybody hitting towns, everybody running shows. This is what makes us like, we went from being like Triple H, Shawn Michaels in China to like full-blown DX, killing the ratings, showing up at WCW's door, knocking on doors, Raging War in WCW. But speaking of Raging War in WCW, I don't know how that really correlates, but who gives a goddamn?
I was thinking NWO.
Made a segue. You
was Kevin Nash all day.
He just
anytime somebody asks, it ain't just because of the height.
He just like, just paid me, let's go home.
Where does he rank on your favorite wrestler list?
He's up there. He's up there. Years ago, I had it written down. I had a list of my favorite wrestlers, and I realized that after the top 4 or 5, they really could just all kind of rank anywhere. But he was up there in my top 10. So like most people that know, like my top 3 or 4 is like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, which is 1. AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan is 2. No, The Rock is 2. AJ Styles, Macho Man Randy Savage is 3. AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan is 4, and like 5 is like you can from there on down. But Kevin Nash is up there. Like a true sign of one of my favorite wrestlers is when I like go back and I just watch random year matches, even if I didn't like what you were doing at the time. I didn't like for instance, I'll go back and if I like something that Kevin Nash did in Impact, I'll go watch an Impact match from back in the day.
Wow,
which is few and far in between, because I didn't like Silver Fox Kevin Nash and I didn't like short hair Kevin Nash. That pissed me off. Like I'll watch his feud with Triple H from 2004. You know what I mean? Or I'll watch the WCW World Championship match with him and Booker T in a cage match. You know what I mean? Like, and that was during a really, really bad time in WCW. But I'll go and watch their matches. So he's up there for me, man. He's always was. You know, me and my brother always gravitated towards the tall wrestlers for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Newsflash people. I'm tall, so I don't know if they know that or not. But yeah,
He's 6'12" for the record.
Just look at the YouTube channel.
Bro, that's literally Brandon's take for everything. He's 6'12". It's like he said that one time in public. Everybody's like, huh? They were looking at me. I'm like, no, that's not a real thing.
And I kept a straight face and walked away.
But that's what he does, though. He does that. That's like that moment where you fart and you walk away and somebody walks in it, and then people look at you like you did it. You're like, dude, what just happened? They're like, oh, no, that was you. That's what he does. With a straight face. But there you go. Who needs it when you got when you got brothers like that? Oh man, we're already starting with the shenanigans already. But gentlemen, SummerSlam is coming up, right? And there was such a drastic response to the road to SummerSlam, and I think it's important is because the road to SummerSlam is starting to become just as important as the premium live event itself. Would you guys not agree?
1,000%.
Yeah, so it's like the build up. Like we spent 1 week. We really spent like almost a week and a half because the first week before that we tried to tap on it as it was just starting to begin, and then last week we began to really. 2 weeks ago we took a deeper dive into it. What just happened?
My bad. Yo, it's two people I'm tired of getting compared to.
Who's that?
Cedric Mullins and Xavier Woods.
You just can't catch a break, can you?
No, somebody put on Instagram or the Ringer Instagram. The best thing about Ringer Wrestling having Instagram now discovering Hollywood Waters is actually Xavier Woods.
Wow, that's Jesus Christ, had dreads, so shake them,
bro. You remember back what 2015 when I was rocking the cruddy, it was always Zeke Elliott, and I'm like, come on,
yep,
yo. Like
I remember
one
that.
time
yep.
I'm in the chicken box spot, and the dude was like, yep. Oh, I thought you was him from the Cowboys. I'm like, bro, first of all, I'm like 5'9". He's probably like 6'1", like or 5, maybe 5.
He just wanted to tell you that, get it off his chest.
Like, and I had a Cowboys hat on. That was when I was like an actual fan. But I'm like, dude, like, chill.
Now cut it out, dude. Come on, man.
Yeah, that joint caught me off guard. That's all.
No, it's okay. Listen, this is what the show's about. It's live. I'm glad they caught you off guard. Because I'm sure it probably caught your man off guard when Hollywood Brian H took over the time slot. All you fans are throwing trash in this ring can stick it, brother. Anyways, but SummerSlam, the road to SummerSlam, like I said, it's starting to become just as important as the event itself. Dylan Matthews believes. Look, Brandon just had to put. He said he will never put more. A chicken box spot is a carryout.
A chicken box is 4 wings and fries. That is 4 chicken wings and whole wings, not broken up wings. That I tell you about the time when I went in Connecticut, and I was like 4 wings and they broke up in half.
I feel bad for you, man. They got you.
No, worse than that is in Ohio. They call Western fries JoJo's, and they give you like 3 or 4. I'm like, can you fill up?
What?
You moved to Ohio, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember 2 years I said a JoJo. I was like, what is a JoJo? And then they put like 3 Western fries on my plate. I said, that's it.
I only get 3 JoJo's. What's going on, man?
I don't know who does this. Where do they do that at? But okay.
Clearly in Ohio. Shout out to our Ohio listeners. See, that's a whole market. Look at Dre. Dre said Western fries at that. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This is all this Baltimore.
We're not going to get to SummerSlam. We get this is what happens when you just enjoy it.
They come here for the shenanigans,
right?
And I always say,
look, I ain't got time to be playing with y'all all night. I got to drive tomorrow.
And I always say,
what time do you got to be out tomorrow?
Championship culture. I say like and subscribe and join in the conversation because we do engage.
This is engage. What time do you have to be up tomorrow, Brian H?
I don't have an exact pinpoint time.
All right, my bad. We got to let Brian. We got to get to this because Brian H has to get some sleep. He has to drive tomorrow.
You actually got to sleep. And for the people out there right now, yes, the podcast is up because I do put the podcast up immediately because I be checking the numbers and people be like, oh, a lot of people already depend on this for their drives to work and stuff. So
yeah, I used to be one of
we got him out of his coma, but let's stop distracting Brian H, man. He's got to drive tomorrow. SummerSlam. Here we go.
Auntie playing. Come on, yes, let's get to it.
All right, here we go. She's ready. Come on, she's ready. SummerSlam, brothers. Let's. Why is SummerSlam so important? Let's just start there. There it is. I didn't get a chance to ask you guys what did we watch because we sat there for the first 30 minutes. I don't know what we just talked about these last 30 minutes, but 30 minutes
Life.
just breeze past. There you go. Real life. But what makes SummerSlam so important? We SummerSlam has always had this moniker for being the biggest party of the summer, right?
Mhm.
And for the most part, that has been pretty much true. But why? Why is SummerSlam so important to our wrestling calendars? And not only that, but where the storylines and the things we like in the matches fall this time of year, and what does it lead to going into the fall, I guess, as we close out the summer.
For me, it's always a thing where it's like the last thing, the last opportunity where wrestling fans have everything focused on that outside of baseball. But let's be
Mhm.
real, like nobody watches, excuse me, not a lot of people watch baseball unless their team is doing well until it gets to October, right?
Like us, the Orioles are doing good this year.
Oh yeah, shout out to the Orioles. Now they lost 2 straight, but they'll get together.
Hey, we'll figure it out.
The thing is, it's always been like when they say the biggest party of summer, it's the thing that
Mhm.
caps it off. It's right before you go to school. Like traditionally, it was right before you go to school. Usually, that first week of school, if you had wrestling friends, you was talking about if they saw SummerSlam and the fallout. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
In church, it was always the whole summer. You leading towards it was like the same way you build up to the youth choir anniversary or whatever. You build up, you build up to SummerSlam every
Right.
Sunday, man. So what you think The Rock gonna do? What you think Austin gonna do? What you think, So, and this year's no different. You look at what the bloodline has been doing.
Mhm.
They still the bloodline, god dang it. But you look at what they've been doing. They just been like cooking. And you could say Roman a part-time champion. No, he's not. He's picking his spots. And he's being that it's actually smart because it's the way they sell the ratings to Fox and FS1. Like the FS1 ratings were through the roof and had the highest ratings ever because of your tribal chief. So overall, just when you look at like the road to SummerSlam, this year's a lot smoother. Last year, you remember, he who shall not be named, you know.
Yeah, because every time we mention his name, we have technical difficulties.
Exactly. He was leaving, and then next thing you know, it got thrown in Triple H's hands, and then it was like, okay, guess what? Brock Lesnar quit. Oh wait, did Brock quit? Brock walked out. What's gonna be the main event? He came back.
Brock walks back in.
Yeah. So, but it's obviously so many bills, but a lot of times it's either the start of a new story that's
Mhm.
going to climax, a comeback to a story that we thought may have ended at WrestleMania, and we get back into it as we saw like last year with Bianca and Becky Lynch.
Mhm.
And a lot of times it's also the beginning of what's going to kick you off into the road to WrestleMania. And what I mean by that is you kind of get an idea because you're going to go see, you kind of get to penciled in what's going to happen at the Royal Rumble or Survivor Series as you get ready for the road to WrestleMania. So it's the summertime WrestleMania for sure. The summertime, granddaddy of them all. So some people love SummerSlam more than WrestleMania. Not me per se, but it's definitely it's second. Well, it's tied with the Royal Rumble. So
Okay, Brother Brandon, why is SummerSlam so important?
I think it's been important because when we think about the big 4 pay-per-views, they all have a different feel to them. So you always look forward to that type of feel because we know when WrestleMania season hit, we know we so glued to the Royal Rumble because the Royal Rumble is going to give us that road to WrestleMania. Then WrestleMania hits and we're still on that wrestling high and we're like, oh, this is great. And then it's like, oh, SummerSlam is like another shot in the arm for you to say, look, here's something else for you. And then Survivor Series usually implications of matchups that we might not have seen or matchups we might have thought about, more with the traditional Survivor Series things of, teams versus teams, this versus that, and especially now with Triple H on War Games, I feel like we're going to have Survivor Series on steroids versus years before. But the thing about SummerSlam, people say it's the WrestleMania of the summer. I just feel like it's the resurgence because a lot of times for that WrestleMania to SummerSlam, it can be a roller coaster. It's either up or down. But SummerSlam gets back focused into wrestling. What's going on? Here's the newest feud. Here's what we've been trying to build. Bam, here's the thing. Let's keep it rolling until you get to Survivor Series. Then Royal Rumble. than WrestleMania, and then we start the cycle over again.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And when you think about SummerSlam and its hook, if you think about all of our favorite SummerSlams coming up, as we appropriately notice the changes in the times, what I mean is SummerSlam in the new generation was one different build of expectation versus the new SummerSlam build during the Attitude Era or the Monday Night War era was one level of anticipation versus kind of now in this modern day era that we kind of still enjoy, even though we're way past our prime when it comes to what we experience. But it's like the fact that there's this underlying current when it comes to SummerSlam, right? It's huge. It's made to be a big deal. It's the WrestleMania of the summer, and I respect WWE for kind of taking that approach, is because anytime you can pick a part of the year and do these mega shows, this is what I call the SummerSlam, WrestleManias, the Royal Rumbles. These are mega shows, and even now it's to the point where you take some of these side pay-per-views and you're leaving the country, like we did with Backlash in Puerto Rico. You know what I mean? Like that was a big deal. And what was the pay-per-view we did in Canada, in Montreal?
Elimination Chamber
with Sami Zayn kind of headlining, him and Kevin Owens kind of carrying that mantle. So it's like, it makes sense, man. And I think it's such a special time of the year. And there's so many traditions that come with SummerSlam that we have so many great memories. But for those that may not be familiar with us or have listened for the first time, you guys want to talk about some of your most famous SummerSlam memories?
I thought he was about to say, for those of you that thought that gospel music has gone too far.
See, it's not even Sunday yet. Your mind's already there. For those of you, I'm not going into it, but for those of you that may not be familiar with us, I said it anyway. For those of you that may not be familiar with us, you guys want to talk about some of your favorite SummerSlam moments. And like I said, I think one of my favorite parts about SummerSlam, one of my favorite SummerSlam moments, is that has nothing to do with WrestleMania 9. So, Brian, yeah. So, like, the best part about talking about my favorite SummerSlam moments is that we don't have to listen to Brian say anything about WrestleMania 9 because it's not WrestleMania, it's SummerSlam. So we usually on the same side when it comes to SummerSlam. It's just not Manias. Manias is like, we need to have like a Mania debate show and just like call up the gang and just have a whole old fashioned shootout. But anyway, SummerSlam favorites, gentlemen. What are your favorite memories about SummerSlam? What do you guys remember the most? What are the things that kind of impacted your brain as a wrestling fan and say, you know what, this is why SummerSlam is SummerSlam to me?
Well, I'm gonna go back all the way to like my first favorite SummerSlam memory.
Mm-hmm.
And no, it's not Brutus the Barber Beefcake main event, which he did.
Thank God. No disrespect to Brutus, but god dang, for that to be a favorite moment. Sheesh.
Nah, it was but it's definitely, to me, still the greatest SummerSlam match in history. I think you might know where I'm going with this.
I got a feeling.
That's a good one, Dylan. It took place for the first time, the Intercontinental Championship main evented the show. Bret the Hitman Hart versus Davey Boy Smith. Never before have I watched my favorite wrestler at the time lose and I'd be happy. Hey, shout out to AO from the Ringside Club.
In the building?
Yeah. But never before has I remember the buildup. You feel me?
I think we all do. Yeah.
And I remember I remember going to the cleanest with my mother.
Wow.
And watching like it in the corner. You know how old black men would always have wrestling on?
Of course.
And it was like in the corner. You remember Superstars used to come on twice a day at 12 and 4. And so this was probably like the 12 o'clock. And I remember seeing like the promos between Bret and Davey. And I never got a chance to actually see the match probably until years later. And shout out to Kelly. Her husband didn't record that one for me. Because my Uncle Troy would always record stuff, but he didn't record that one for me. But
why do you say there's a lot of animosity behind that? She's like, somebody hadn't let that one go.
No, I just really thought about it. Like, wait a minute. Why did it take me so long? Can't blame anybody else but him. Well, which ironically we will order the next year. We will order that one. But yeah, that match, I go back and watch it every year. I probably, if there's a match, I would say that might be the match I've watched the most.
I can see
Just
that.
based on the longevity. It's always usually like something I like write about. If the article dictates it, but yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite matches, not just the SummerSlam history, just in wrestling history.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. What about you, Brandon? Any particular SummerSlam moments that kind of stood out to you that that's like I said, we all have these moments that kind of make us wrestling fans, and it has us looking forward to SummerSlam every year. What was that moment for you, kind of coming up in your wrestling fandom?
So you're gonna laugh when I say this. Every time I think about SummerSlam, I always, and this is just in the back of my mind, what is Brock gonna do? Because he's been so prominent at SummerSlams for so long. And it's always a thing where it's like he has, how Shawn Michaels calls it like Mr. WrestleMania or like the Undertaker streak. I feel like
Don't do it.
What?
Don't do it.
What are you talking about?
Go ahead.
Dylan.
I'm messing with
Dylan.
I'm saying, huh?
No, Brian is just trolling you. He's being a heel.
Because I know what you're going, and I'm not ready to give that title. I'm not ready to take away that title from Bret Hart.
No, I'm not giving him that. I'm just saying he always has SummerSlam moments. See, there you go. Let me finish the thought. Let me break something down for once. So what I'm trying to say is, so often, if you think about it, remember last year, what did Brock Lesnar do?
Amazing moment.
You know what I'm saying?
Amazing moment.
Year before that, look what him and Seth did. Even the thing with him and Randy Orton, him and Triple H, it's always something that's gonna make you say.
You ain't gonna talk about him and when Roman finally beat him the first time,
bro. Why?
I was backtracking because
God dang.
I remember saying him and Orton was probably the most thing I was looking forward to, and the most disappointed at the same time. But going back and watching it, I'm like, oh, it makes sense. But in that moment, I was like, you know what? Him and Randy really have it. If anybody can, cripple the beast, it would be Randy. We got the Legend Killer. He's Randy Orton. And I'm like, dang, they really haven't crossed paths. So, and to see that, but even so, with like the whole thing with John Cena, him,
that didn't go too well.
Yeah,
you're right.
But I'm just saying, like, I'm not calling him Mr. SummerSlam. I'm just saying I always think about, because he's had the most moments that are memorable, and I always say, well, what is he going to do this year with him and Cody? As much as I don't want to see a dog collar match, it might just be a cage match. It might be something. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be something, because I don't know if other wrestling fans think that way. Brock has some moments, like when it comes to certain things, you just automatically think like, all right, what can they do now? Like if you put Finn Balor in the cage, now you're going to say, what is he going to do in the cage? After all the things that he's been through. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was trying to hit at. So I remember the Randy Orton thing the most because I was looking forward to it the most.
Sure.
But now I'm like, it was disappointing at the time, but I get it. So SummerSlam for me is like what's Brock did.
Another memory, brother Brandon threw an epic SummerSlam party. SummerSlam 2011. Now it was so epic.
Why did he drink the ice so fast? See how fast
it was so epic. Even people didn't want to leave.
Ain't no party like a Belt King party.
Right.
Look at him sweating right now. He said he threw the drink back real quick.
Go ahead, Brian. What you want to tell the people about that? Because you want to bring it up.
No, I'm just saying how great that party was. We had a good time. I remember being irritated because this is the one Sunday I decided, like, my father. I mean, I think was that? Yeah, we had a quartet program that day, and anybody know me? It's a pet peeve when they book quartet on the same day as wrestling pay-per-views.
Oh yeah, he's pissed about that, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know, Brian Nace, he's Brian Nace, but then he goes to Hollywood Brian. He turns heel real quick. Oh my gosh.
No, because bro, like they be knowing it's the same day, yo. Like, at least like last year, my uncle booked his the day after.
Because he knew though. He's a wrestling fan. He knew.
It actually wasn't the day after. It was a couple weeks after. But you know what I'm trying to say. But like, I'm like, come on now. Like, I remember one time my father had a program booked on WrestleMania 22. Needless to say, I didn't see Rey Mysterio win the title live. And by the time I got home, they talking about it. Oh yeah, earlier tonight, Rey Mysterio won the title. But so that day, I remember we get there, so I was like, man. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, Dad, I'm ready to go. I gotta go. And I think, and I'm like,
I remember
you
the
know
story.
what? And I was like, I just need to get to my car. And this is before Uber. So I get there, Brandon got a house full, we sitting there, we eating chips and drinking sodas and stuff. And then it's like, yeah, man, it's time to go. So then said person, I mean, we're not dropping names here. You got to pay your Patreon. Said person had a whole proposal for Brother Brandon about all this cool stuff that he could do and all this stuff that he was good at. And Brother Brandon's like, okay. And anybody know Brandon? He shows his expiration. Like he don't like people as it is. Y'all getting a new side. But then when you in his space too long, then we got problems. It's like after a while, look, this
bad,
my
bro.
brother since 2000, so I know. And usually, like we both have that. Okay, it's like at the same time. All right, y'all, I'm going my way, you go your way. But homeboy wasn't getting the point, and I'm at the point like, all right, so if I maybe like I'm like, all right, I'm ready to leave. Maybe if I leave or start walking, he will get the hint. And then Brandon, if I was like, I'm getting ready to go to bed, so.
But I'm really mad you pulled a freaking Rush Hour Jackie Chan. I go this way, you go this way. I go this way, you go this way. Yes.
And one thing about if I have a party at my house, I'm usually very comfortable in my dress. I have a pair of basketball shorts and a t-shirt, and socks and slides. So all I gotta do is kick off my slides and get into bed. But if you don't see the writings on the wall that it's time to go, especially when wrestling has been over. They done aired the replay. It's
oh boy! I'm like, you don't got to go home, but you got to get the heck up out of here.
Yeah. So the TV's about to get cut off. Everything's cleaned up. Everything's put away. You're still here. Okay.
Just start cutting lights out.
So
it's see, look, you see that's what SummerSlam provides. Not only memories of us, things we got the chance to watch and experience, but these type of parties. I'm not even going to get into it, but so SummerSlam is for me has been like it's always been a sleeper pay-per-view, and I mean by that is like I remember SummerSlam '98 vividly because I remember that was the year where like I got like bro. Like I got like first of all the Highway to Hell build up between Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin. It seemed like forever. It was everywhere. It was on MTV. It was on every. I remember just seeing that the epic, the graphic picture of the SummerSlam '98 with Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin, kind of like Godzilla and Sid Bad Guy, kind of destroying New York. And then freaking The Rock and Triple H stole the show. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And but it's like. That's the one I experienced. Like I was there for that one, but then I went back and I remember going back and watching Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon, the rematch, the ladder match, which I still think was a better match than the one at WrestleMania 10. But the the one at WrestleMania 10 was so iconic and it has its place, and it'll always be that. But it's like, man, I go back and I watch that match before I watch any other match, you know what I mean? And to me, that was my Shawn Michaels era. Like when I said Shawn Michaels was the guy for me, like it was one day I'm Bret Hart all the way, next day I'm Shawn Michaels, and I lived that way for years. Like that was my lifestyle. I flip-flopped more than a fan of the Monday Night Wars, flipping from WCW to Monday Night Raw.
You flip-flop more than Big Show's career?
More than Big Show's heel
face
turns.
That's a lot of flip-flopping.
It was. Right. I'm telling you, like that, and that was my lifestyle. That wasn't like every once in a while. Like every day I woke up, I felt like Shawn Michaels. It was Shawn Michaels a day. I know the next day, like, you know what? I'm pink and black intact. But SummerSlam has so many memories. And of course, like I said, Brian, they said you can't deny freaking Bret Hart versus British Bulldog at Wembley. Like, come on now. These are all classics. And we could sit here and we could talk about SummerSlam memories forever. And don't get me wrong, we will. There'll be a time and a place for that when we get into our SummerSlam preview show, because that's not what this is about. We're here to talk about the road, right? We're here to talk about this SummerSlam and how it's going to compare for the many SummerSlams that we just discussed, and how is it going to have that same effect? Brother Brandon, you just said about the epic main event that happened with Brock Lesnar and the Bloodline last year. One of the greatest moments in wrestling history. I mean, so fun, so memorable. I had a blast watching that. Like I'm as old as I'm past my expiration date as far as being a wrestling fan, and the fact that I enjoyed myself as if I was like it was for me, and I'm like, man, that's what I enjoyed the most about the product today and what they were able to do. And Brock Lesnar had a huge part of that. Of course, shout out to Roman Reigns, the Bloodline. Even Austin Theory got one a piece of that smoke, right? So we're looking at this year's SummerSlam and say, okay, now this year's SummerSlam has to be whatever version of SummerSlam is supposed to be and have that same effect to us. And I'm noticing the things that's been happening to lead up to it. And I'm saying to myself, man, this is getting pretty intense. Cody Rhodes keeps getting beat up and he keeps getting knocked down and he keeps popping up. And I'm like, you know what? This guy is he cuts promos every week. Instead of wrestling, he comes out there, he shows his face, he wears his nice suit, and he's one of two things that happen. He's getting beat up by Brock Lesnar, or he's cutting promos. Now, the promo he cut on Monday Night Raw I thought was extremely dope. It's because he talked about getting beat up in front of his mother, but he did this crazy callback where he was like, you know what my mother said to me? Like, you know why she wasn't worried about me getting beat up? Because she sat there and she watched my dad. And I was like, oh, okay, there we go. You know, we talking
crazy,
about,
bro.
Crazy. It made so much sense though. She was like, she just shook her head and left it alone. Like most people, was like most mothers will be mortified to watch their son get beat up like that. And he's like, oh no, see, here's the problem. You let me live. Because that's nothing. If you think my mother was worried about that, you know what she watched my father go through, and I was like, oh shoot, now we cooking with grease. And I'm noticing like these buildups, man. Like we get Cody and Brock 3, and I'm on the fence because I can see the match going either way. Do you guys think that what has been leading up to what we're starting to see as a finalized SummerSlam card, is it starting to build to a place where you feel like this year's SummerSlam is going to have the same effect as SummerSlams of years past?
That's
why I did it on purpose. This is what you guys do to me every week. So now it's my turn to throw it back at you guys.
It's a lot that's happening this year that I think can be very exciting and pivotal.
Speak on it.
Well, you talked about Cody and Brock, right? And Brother Brandon did a great job talking about Brock Lesnar and what he means to SummerSlam. And I know I was giving him a little bit of hell right there. I'm very gatekeepy of Bret Hart. Don't get much, y'all gonna let him keep SummerSlam? God dang it!
Did you see? I meant to say this, Brother Brandon. Did you see the look of relief in his face when you said, "I'm not ready to say that Brock is Mr. SummerSlam"? Brandon's like,
and like for instance, I don't want to give anybody else that title because you can't say SummerSlam without mentioning Bret Hart. Sorry.
To me, calling somebody a Mr. something, it has to stay with the old school people or whoever like paved the way. The only person I'm willing to give a different title to is Miss, because of what the women were able to do now versus back then, and that's giving Charlotte Flair Miss WrestleMania, But like I look at, like I said, just what Brock Lesnar and Cody are going to go out there and do, whether it's a dog collar match, whether it's a regular match. I mean, the thing about Brock is we can get bored with him, or sometimes I would say post Universal Champion Brock, he's going out there and putting on epic like matches, but telling different stories. You could tell he's like having fun.
He's not post Universal Champion. He's post Paul Heyman.
Ooh,
wow!
Think about it. That's when the shift happened. Once Paul Heyman left his side, Brock Lesnar went and said, "I can do this on my own. Look, give me the mic. Watch what I do. Give me in the ring. Give me a story." He's a different beast right now.
Literally.
See? There you go. See, I tried to throw it at you guys with a question, and you just threw right back at us. I quit.
But yeah, man. So like that, right? Ronda and Shayna is a matchup we've been waiting for for a while. We finally gonna get it. So just that whole story. I mean, anytime you get personal vendettas, but for real life friends, it's always gonna cook. You got Becky and Trish. I mean, just Trish Stratus at SummerSlam. Trish like came back and really running the full loop. She's a baby face. I mean, a heel, but she's really a full-time wrestler. And then you got your special attraction match with Ricochet and Logan Paul. Like even Ricochet's wife clapped back at Ringside News saying, like, look, he's doing the most, kind of like the most relevant thing he's done in his career.
Facts, man. He's got a spot this year.
So many eyeballs, and he's not somebody that you kind of like worried about delivering in the ring.
Never,
because he can cover up anything. He could he did that Spanish Fly,
bro,
covered it up.
Ricochet is a pro's pro, and I'm happy he's getting it because he paid his dues, man. God damn,
definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And he does the community stuff very well. I was at at Johns Hopkins at the time with him and Strowman and Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross came to
Yep.
talk to the kids,
Yeah.
and you just see you always respect people, and like I saw Braun this past WrestleMania, and
Mhm.
when we I produced the interview, and I brought that up to him. I said, man, I remember when I met you. You said like that was like your favorite thing to do. He's like, oh yeah, man. He said still is, and so being able to see Ricochet get this opportunity against a YouTube star, what he's going to do, and like, yeah, it's a lot of truth in the promos. He's going to do something that's going to get millions of spins on TikTok,
Facts, man.
but people are going to say, yo, who's that Ricochet guy?
Facts.
Logan Paul fans, because like he's the type of person of his fan base will watch, and
Yeah.
who knows what's his name? KSI might get involved and stuff. So
Yep.
that's going to be fun. And like I said, I mean, just the way the card is, it doesn't have to build up to 98. Like 98 was just a whole different.
It was a freaking campaign. Like somebody was
Yeah.
running for
That was
president.
entertainment. That was everywhere.
What?
It had so much crossover appeal. MTV was showing the ads. It was
Everywhere,
so much
bro.
stuff.
And like
It
you
was-
said, it felt like it took forever, and I always watch SummerSlam 98 every year. I'm gonna
Mhm.
watch it. I'm gonna see what they're talking about. And but I think this one feels more like last year's felt like they rushed the recipe at the end and it was good. You know what I mean?
Because we were transitioning. Yep.
The transition, the
Leftovers.
last minute, and the last minute additions. Like Bailey said, I think she got the call the night before, and said, "Well,
Wow.
can you get to Tennessee and whatnot?"
Yeah, because Dakota got the call. She said the Triple H called her, was like, "Hey, I need you here," and she was like, "Sure."
Yeah, because
He
remember
was
we
like,
kept
you doing anything on Sunday? I mean, yeah, which was
Saturday.
was it Saturday or
Saturday.
Sunday?
Saturday.
She said
yeah.
she got the call, said, "Are you doing anything? I need you," and she came right through. And that tells you how powerful Triple H is and how these wrestlers were still loyal to him.
Well, and you
Yeah,
got
but
to think he was a lot of their favorites wrestler.
Sure.
A lot of them. Like that's like if we was there, right? We grew up. We was in school talking about Triple H, whether we liked him or hated him, and now you get to work with him, and
I hated him.
I feel you. Me too. Me too. But like even listening to Desmond Xavier, Wesley, and and Carmelo Hayes talk about Shawn Michaels and how they got a chance to just working with him. And Carmelo said he told Michaels like, dude, he's like, I don't know what's cool anymore. He said, dude, you was cool back in the day. Like you was the epitome of cool. So it's like they getting to work with their favorites. And so it's that respect, like Brandon said, like, okay, sure, where you need me, Even a guy I know he gets a lot of heat on Twitter, and Michael Cole don't help. The spot sure didn't help. But a guy like Top Dollar, said when he got released, him and Triple H constantly talked, and he would send him like his updates and matches, like, hey man, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. He said, all right, I don't, and then brought him back. So it's a lot of stuff like that, and I'm very excited about this one. I think in Ford Field in Detroit, there's gonna be tears shed because the tribal combat. Yeah, I know. Man, look, somebody gonna cry. I know I say that all the time, but look, people was crying after Roman J1 or 2, I should say, after the Hell in the Cell match. This one, whichever way.
With the guillotine, when he had
this one right here, man. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
Well, let's jump right into that, right? Because I think that was one of the bullet points for tonight's show. It's obviously it's the main event, but man, this
before you say that, let me throw this nugget at you, the realness. Do you realize we might potentially have 8 or 9 matches on this card, and 3 of them are women's matches, and only 1 is for a title?
Yep, they said it's a lock for 9 matches.
I think
that is awesome that it's sharing that space.
No, it's I think that's the part that if it's done correctly, you know what I mean? I think a lot of people look at women's wrestling and says, okay, well, it's not this, it's not that. It's no different than the way they look at most people look at like the WNBA. And financially, it may not be the juggernaut because if it stands on its own, it's one thing, right? But when you are able to include that aspect of the sport with the men's, you're bringing one audience together. You know what I mean? And I think Triple H has done a masterful job of understanding that the women are not being booked like women, even as far as their characters. They're legit being given the same type of story, not women's storylines. She pulled my hair and I'm mad at you. You know what I mean?
Get
you
on
called,
my makeup. You're in the mirror.
yeah,
I'm going to throw this power in your face.
You called me a hippo, and now I have to prove that I'm body positive. Like, you know what I mean? They're not giving them women's story. They're treating them like legit characters. So shout out to Triple H that we do get 3 women's matches out of that 9-match card that we have for SummerSlam, and there's no doubt in my mind that
daughters.
Of course, he's got nothing but daughters. So yeah, you know what I mean. And he's got a wife.
The fact that it's not a default title match either. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, it's not just okay. Well, somebody's got to fight for the women's title. It's like, no, these are women that have legitimate stories, characters, and they have issues that need to be resolved. And as fans, we need to be a part of it, and we need to see it front and center. But as far as issues front and center, good God, what were you thinking, Brother Brandon, when you first heard that the Bloodline was going to settle the Civil War through a trial by combat match, as Roman Reigns accepted Jey Uso's challenge at SummerSlam? What were you thinking when you first heard that?
So, if nothing else has taught us about this Triple H does, we got to pay attention to the words. And Lynn mentioned this on his show. What is a tribal combat? And then I said, why would they make it mention that the elders suggested it? I instantly became glued to this story because that put emphasis on what's going to happen at Payback. Because I said it when they first brought Payback back. I said, I'm more worried about Payback than I am SummerSlam. But now, since you said this tribal combat and you said the elders knew about it, now my question is, who is the elder or who are the elders? Because we only saw Roman's father and his uncle put the lay on him that one time, and we've seen no other family members. So when they said, I said, it's got to be a reason they put the symbolism of the tribal chief on the title. And does this mean that, like Lynn said, somebody can become the tribal chief without having the title?
First of all,
there's got to be a reason that he had to stop Solo from hitting them. Because nobody can interfere in this tribal combat. It's got to be just them two airing it out. So what's going to happen? Because if somebody interfered, does that break the rules of engagement? Because somebody compared it to, and I know this is 2 different cultures, like in Black Panther, how they fought for the crown, like nobody could interfere. They had to meet. It was just them 2 fighting for the crown of the Black Panther to be the king. So is this them fighting for the tribal chief plus the title? And could I win and be the tribal chief without winning the title?
Well, it goes to something that Brian Ish had said when we were watching live, and he tweeted out. He was like, when Solo, he looked at Roman walked away, and then he was like, he kind of had enough, and he went to attack his brother, and Roman stopped him before Jay ended up dropping him with a super kick. And he was like, oh yeah, he's gonna get in trouble for that because he's violating cultural standards at this point now. He's gone too far. And I was like, it threw me off because I was like, wait a minute, we still don't, to once again, how it connects to what you said, Brandon, is we don't know to the extent of who the elders are. We know that the representation of the elders is Afen Sika, because that's their rightful place right now. You know, back in the day, it was the high chief, Peter Maivia. We're talking in 60s, 70s, when he came into fruition. So like as things have passed down, generations have come and gone, Afen and Sika have been the physical representation of the elders, right? Now we know they're not the only ones, but they're the ones that's representative, and we still haven't figured out when they kept saying that the elders had sent Solo. Because that, you know what I'm saying? So like this is what makes me nervous about SummerSlam when it comes to Triple H, is because this is supposed to be a regular wrestling match, but now I'm just like, man, y'all got me thinking like it's a Bray Wyatt story, because there's still so many holes that have yet to be filled, and I could be overlooking into it. That's also a possibility, but at the same time, no, you have to forgive me because now I've been reconditioned. We know how we struggle to be conditioned to watch the program based off who was running the show. And now the Triple H is running the show instead of he's whose name should not be mentioned, because every time we mention his name, we have technical difficulties, right? Solo Sikoa before his debut said, "I'm not joining my brothers. I'm doing my own thing in NXT. It's about what you call." And then maybe like a month and a half later, he's on the bloodline. He's like, and they literally said he was sent by the elders. We were like, wait a minute. He was a Samoan Street Fighter in NXT. He literally did an interview that said, "No, that my brothers are my brothers. And they're gonna do their thing, but I'm here to do my own thing." That was disruptive, right? He was that's what he was there to do. Samoan Street Fighter. So then all of a sudden, now we have some decorum, right? It's because what I'm noticing is that even in the beef of the bloodline, family tradition, family culture, and standards are still being practiced, right? We may be beefing, but at the same time, we have enough respect for where we come from to adhere to our cultural upbringing that we're going to follow the rules. Henceforth, what you said, Brian, is the fact that Roman stopped Solo. It was like, nah. You know what I mean? If I'm the top dog and I'm saying nah, ain't because we're looking for traditional, sign the contract, flip the table, and fighting. And Solo looked annoyed because I think that's what he was expecting, because he looked at Roman like he was crazy, and then he flipped the table. And Roman had to be like, no, not this time. You know, we watched it over and over again. Every time we see a table in the ring and two people about to sign something or happen something, we know it's going to happen next. And the fact that didn't happen,
go through it, or something, it's going to get flipped over.
It's inevitable. But the fact that it was like, no. Our standards, our practices, and our culture are above what usually happens. And Solo looked like he didn't understand that, which is why he got to know, like, nah, we got him right here. Let's take him out. And Roman just looked at him and shook his head like, nah,
no,
you wrong. Like, this is not how we do things. And I was like, man, it leads me to a number of different things. And I'll say this because we have to move on. And by all means, brothers, please jump in. There's something to the fact that they're still following standard practices as far as their culture is concerned. Is because, for all I know, just because it's think about it. When you think about a civil war with the United States of America, the North versus the South, even when the North won, they were still the United States of America. Right? The Southern states could no longer operate as one entity, separate from everyone else. And it was one, and guess what? It went back to being one unit under the standards and practices of the North rather than the standards and practices of the South. Right? When Jimmy Uso first approached Roman Reigns about what he was doing, he never said, "I'm sick of you, I'm done with you." He said, "I just want you to respect us. You turned into a tyrant. We're supposed to be family." He said, "Let's do this the right way together. We're the ones, we're stronger together." Roman was the one that said no. So it goes to show me that there's a sense of catharsis that's still there, that they want their family united. They just want it to be done a certain type of way. And who's to say, because we don't know how this works in culturally, as far as people from the Pacific Islands and specifically the Isle of Samoa. You're like, man, like, how many people fight each other on a regular basis and still wake, and whoever wins the fight, they shake hands, they dust themselves off, and you fall in line. Right? A lot of people,
that's kind of what he did at first, but he had to use his brother for him to fall in line.
Well, it's the same thing. Like I said, he beat up Jay, and he said, "Jay, I'm doing this for you." And you know what the sick part about this whole crazy storyline is? Roman kept his word. Roman said, "I'm trying to make you more money. I'm trying to put you in these main events." And guess what? That's exactly what the heck he did. But he had to beat up his cousin because his cousin wasn't complying. His cousin literally screamed at one point, "Bro, I hate you for doing this stuff." And he kept saying, "I know. It's okay." He hugged him. And guess what? He became the right-hand man. Something clicked based off what did Roman have to do? He fought his own cousin, and then he got in line. So we all getting excited, like, "Oh yeah, the bloodline's breaking up." I'm like, Brad, I'm not so sure about this. What happens if Jey Uso goes, "Man, I lost fair and square after speaking to the elders by tribal court. We have to fall in line. We obligated to do so. Like, we gave up our rights by participating in a trial by combat, because I lost that trial by combat." Guess what? The bloodline goes right back to the way it was, following Roman as a tribal chief, and now we do what he say, and we're obliged to do that. It's because
we lost by our traditions.
That's what I'm saying, man. So then maybe the bloodline doesn't break up, and Roman does hold the title for another 2.5 years. I don't know, man. This is what, of course, you would say that. This is why SummerSlam has me twisted right now, because it's not supposed to be this. It's not supposed to be this complicated. It didn't used to be, but thanks to Triple H, we've gone a little bit deep, man. But like I said, we'll get a little bit more into this next week for our SummerSlam. We still
got 2 weeks before it happens, right?
We got 2 weeks. We got
Friday, right?
That's correct. Yeah, we
it's
have
one more.
next Wednesday will be our SummerSlam actual preview show where we actually break down the matches and make predictions and all that good stuff.
No, I mean SmackDown. We have 2 more SmackDowns, right?
Yep. We have this Friday and we have the following Friday. Yep, because
Okay.
we get down that Saturday. So we have 2 more weeks of television programming to figure out what's going on with that. But another aspect of SummerSlam. This is, and we'll probably close on this because we kind of answered all these questions. Like I said, we're going to pick up the conversation next week, but let's talk about this guy right here, Dirty Dom Dom, winning the NXT
My guy.
North American Championship. Now, a lot of fans were kind of in an uproar for obvious reasons because he's a heel. You know, Triple H is Shawn Michaels has Triple H on speed dial, and he's like, dude, I want him to help me build this product. Triple H just shout out to Triple H and Shawn Michaels, DX running the business, and Road Dogg. Dominic Mysterio is now, he beats Wesley. First of all, Wesley was shout out to Wesley, amazing talent, right? But once again, I feel like he was another guy that fell to a lack of dance partners in NXT. You know what I mean? To keep him, I feel like where I feel like I would want him to be. Now, it's not my call because I'm not running NXT, but I'm just a fan. You know what I mean? Dominic Mysterio goes down there. He wins it. He brings the North American champ to the main roster. A lot of people were upset and up in arms about it because they were like, well, when Solo had just won it or whatever the case may be, he had to literally give it up, relinquish it to go back because he was starting his journey on the main roster. And everybody's like, well, why did he let Dom do it? He's on the main roster. And I'm just like, to me, that argument never made any sense.
Right.
Now, am I alone in that theory, or do you guys kind of feel the same way when it comes to that?
As far as
whether it was the right move or the wrong move, or the fact, like, people, every time something happens in wrestling, people want to make it make sense.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why doesn't it make sense? It's because I believe in killing 2 birds with one stone if you can. Right. A lot of people are just so straightforward, like, oh no, it didn't make sense because Solo had to give his up, right? Because Solo was starting a different journey.
Yeah.
Dominic Mysterio is getting reps, so he can shine. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the Judgment. You're establishing the Judgment Day as a dominant faction across the board, and there was no way you was putting a bloodline on NXT. Let's be real.
Yeah,
and that's the difference. Like, the Judgment Day was still, you already had Finn going down there, you already had Rhea going down there, you already had Damian Priest. If they wasn't going down there and they were already world champions, I could see they were already like top tippity top guys, as Bruce Pritchard would say. But like you said, 2 birds with one stone. Donovan gets to work with other people. He's at NXT. He's getting a little bit of Shawn Michaels sauce because he's down there. So it made perfect sense. Wesley, I heard people say, well, how do you end the title reign like that? He lost to a guy who's the biggest heel in the company.
Yeah, that's
a
no shame in
big
that.
deal.
Yes, it is. There's no shame in that. There's no shame in that at all.
And
it's like, and he's going to be spotlighted in NXT still. And it's like, wow, they found a way where developmental is no longer like, okay, this is the minor leagues to the big leagues. No, it's like, hey, listen, he'll get reps in front of a smaller audience. He'll be featured more prominent because he's a champion. He's already the biggest heel in the company. So it's like, man, you're taking that title to Raw and SmackDown. If you're not familiar with it, what's that brown belt that he has? What is the NXT North American Championship? And guess what? You know what they're doing after he comes off his promo? They're showing his commercial. Hey, by the way, on Tuesday, watch Dominic Mysterio as he shows up. And there's, with wrestling fans, we have a natural curiosity, right? When we hear something, we're trying to. That's why they have Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams randomly showing up on SmackDown and Raw, and they're special guests. They put them in the audience, like, oh no, this is NXT guys. The same way when guys used to debut in NXT, you know, at takeovers, Drew McIntyre in the audience, Bobby Roode, EC3, you know, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, man, what are wrestling fans up in uproar about? Everything doesn't have to make sense based off what somebody else went through. Solo was legitimately a fresh face. Dominic is a draw, like. He's going to bring a lot of eyes to that product as North American champion. And he's also going to draw for NXT because he's carrying that title to the main roster. Like, let's be real. Kevin Owens was the pioneer for that. He was the first champion where they acknowledged him in their developmental system as being a champion. He showed up on the main roster with his NXT championship and literally stepped on the United States champion and said, this is why my title is more important than yours. Game changer. Game changer, because they never acknowledged their developmental systems titles as legitimate titles within the WWE. They were placeholders, right? And now you have a space where Dominic Mysterio, like I said, the biggest heel in the company right now, is once again he's one of the top champions on a smaller show. He's going to be a star. Like he's gonna wreak havoc everywhere he goes. Where he may play second or third fiddle to the Judgment Day, because I mean, look who he's in the ring with. But guess what's going to happen when he goes to NXT? He's going to be the focal point.
Yep.
Me and brother Brandon talked about this earlier. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I love it. I'm a Dominic Mysterio fan.
Yeah, I don't get why people don't love it.
Yeah, and because he was just another person on the roster. It was like, okay, Rey Mysterio, son wrestling, all right, cool, whatever. I didn't like the gear, but it was like, all right, it was cute. Let's call it for what it was. It was cute. See his father come out there. They had the matching Eddie Guerrero homage gear at last year's WrestleMania. But to see him and even Conan, shout out to Muscle Man Malcolm. He talked to Conan, and Conan was like, it's fun to watch him. He said, this is a good kid, innocent kid. To see him show his range has been
Big
fun
time.
to watch. You know, so and he goes out there, he knows how to draw. He's acting like his stepmom, Vicky Guerrero, for goodness sakes. I love it.
And so I guess my thing is, and I said this to you, brother, I feel like I'm ready. The Judgment Day is great, but I feel like their story has become will they, won't they? And
I'm glad you're bringing it up, man. We're gonna go there. Go ahead.
That's my not my problem, but I feel like that's what's drawing me to the story because if Finn wins from Seth, we have the illusion of Damian going to cash in. Is that going to cause a dissension?
Thank you.
Is Mommy going to come and say, "Hold on, stop"? No, let me get it together because she's the one accepting the matches for Dawn.
She's done it before.
Back, we'll talk about this. And the thing I love that they're doing with her, she's exactly what we were talking about back when we were talking about when the colors were on different shows with the belts, giving them a women's world champion. We said Rhea needs a world champion so she can go and travel and do everything under the sun. And she's done that in NXT. She's popped up on SmackDown because it's still crazy to me that we had the Raw World Champion, NXT champion on SmackDown defending the title, which was made official by the NXT general manager. So on SmackDown. But that's what Rhea Ripley is in that space for. And I'm glad she's the world champion because I would love to see her put the title up against somebody at the next NXT show. Not at is it the Great American? What's the next show?
NXT Great American Bash. Yep.
Not there, but I'm saying a following show, kind of like Seth went down there and did the same thing as a world champion. But then outside of the Judgment Day, I don't think they need to remember they got enough within them that it's always going to be that looming what's going to happen next. Because if Dominic drops it at the Great American Bash in that triple threat, who's to say he can't get it back the following week? Who's to say that the Judgment Day won't get the tag team belts and now Finn and Damian are going to be forced to work together and that's going to be what glues them back if Finn doesn't get the belt. So I'm just, and I do have another tidbit, but I don't want to take too much time. So,
brother, you have all the time in the world. This is your goddamn show. What are you talking about?
I'm gonna say this, and I'm not.
I'm like, you gonna leave us with a cliffhanger? I'm like,
don't do that.
I'm very territorial when it comes to belts, and all I'm gonna say.
Oh, we know.
Collision is great, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tony Khan, please take note on how you take your champion from one show to another and still keep them relevant.
Oh.
If you can take the North American title from SmackDown twice down, you gave it to Solo, put eyes on it, right? You gave it down to Dirty Dom and still have eyes and still be relevant NXT. Why can't we do the same thing for ROH and AEW? What I feel like it's just flopping around, holding it like a prop.
I knew he had a bone to pick.
Yep. But that's because I'm saying Collision, you figured out the sauce, but come on, you still got 3 other shows that you got to figure this sauce out with because I don't mean no harm. Look who your ROH World Champion is, and what is he doing?
Well, leave my man Cesaro alone.
And I like Cesaro. You know I like Claudio Castagnoli. I'm just saying.
He had a great title defense against Pac.
Yeah, but that's my point.
I know. You don't have to tell me. I get it. I know. I'm trying to be positive about AEW now. But
that's what I'm saying. I'm just giving some constructive criticism because Collision is great.
some constructive creative for Tony. Tony, take notes, buddy.
Because whoever is doing Collision, just let them say, okay, that's the show. What you can do on the other one. But say they were ROH, their pay-per-views are great. I didn't watch the last one, but I've been thoroughly impressed with the last few pay-per-views of ROH. But it's like, but back to the Judgment Day. That's all I'm going to say. I love them, but I hope their story after SummerSlam changes, and I hope it changes, especially now that Kevin Owens is hurt. I hope they don't strip the titles from him. But if they had to, put them on the Judgment Day right now, because that will further their storyline.
Bro, let's just close on that. So I'm going to ask you two questions I have for you gentlemen. Does the Judgment Day break up?
No.
It's because
go ahead, sorry.
okay, no, you good. Hear me out, because see, Brother Brandon's like, no, okay, I'm trying to throw a swerve at him like a curveball, like a pitcher. Show Ohtani.
It could be an Oriole.
Man, here's you spoke on it, right? And I was thinking about it too. I was like, that's what I was thinking. But you said, what's to happen at SummerSlam? Because Finn is off his rocker. He's obsessed with hurting Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins wants all the smoke, right? I'm loving the fact that their feud is so real. Finn is doing some of his best work. Seth Rollins is just on top of the world. And I don't want it to end, but I'm like, bro, this is going to go left field. They resolved the issues the first time. But what happens if Finn ends up either almost beating him or Damian Priest ends up costing Finn early on or something? Like if Finn fails and somehow, but then Damian Priest tries to catch in, Finn gets offended and causes Damian Priest to lose his opportunity. Because now it's the first time, because he came out there again the first time trying to help Finn. And Finn's like, yo, what are you doing? And he's like, I was trying to help. Like, what do you mean? He's like, nah, you was trying to cash in and eat off what I was doing. I could see something like that similar happening again. You know what I mean? Once again, Finn getting into a space. And like I said, when I say Finn is off his rocker, Finn is tripping out. So like he may not be thinking straight. Rhea had to come out there and say, listen, let's not do this out here. This is Judgment Day business. Let's go backstage. Let's talk. And then later on, I think later that night, they ended up jumping Seth Rollins again, or whoever it was that they jumped. And I was like, okay, they seem to be in a good space right now. But like, what happens if literally Seth Rollins is about to lose, and Damian Priest comes out there somehow causing Finn to either misstep, overlook, Seth Rollins catches him slipping, and he blames Damian. And Damian goes, well, shoot, you already lost. Let me cash in. And then he goes to cash in, and Finn is still offended by the fact that, well, I feel like I lost because you again. Now you're doing it on purpose. You're trying to steal my thunder. And what if Finn causes Damian Priest to lose, and then he has a failed cash in? There's no coming back from that, in my opinion. There's no coming back from that, in my opinion. Rhea Ripley keeps taking matches for Dom, for Dirty Dom. And what if he finds himself in a situation where he ended up getting beat up real bad, or he ends up losing his title? Is because maybe he wasn't ready to take the match on. Like these are all the things that are spinning through my head thanks to Triple H. You know what I mean? I don't know about replacing members, because it's like the Judgment Day has become so popular now. I said something to Brother Brandon earlier. I said the Judgment Day, when they were a group, were a main event unit. But unfortunately, the Judgment Day has done their job very well, and they're getting each individual over to a different level. And it's like, man, how long can you keep this group together based off their individual popularities? And that, like 1 week Damian Priest can main event a show, the next week Dirty Dom can main event all 3 shows and carry the load. Like he's the last one on the list. He's the most inexperienced guy in the group, and he's starting to turn that freaking corner. What if he decides, I don't need the rest of the group, I'm starting to smell myself? And he's got Rhea Ripley, and she becomes his China. But then what if she ends up having conflict? Is because she's too busy worried about Dom and protecting his behind, that maybe she has issues trying to defend her women's world championship. So I'm looking at all these internal conflicts that could potentially happen. I'm like, man, how long can these guys actually stay together?
But here's another question. Is it the Demon versus Seth, or is it Finn versus Seth? Because what if the Demon attacks Finn? Attacks Damian and stops him from cashing in? Because he always say the Demon is a different person. It's a different persona. He goes to a different.
What if the Demon seeks revenge for Finn Balor and says, no, I owe Damian a receipt because you cost him the title the first time. I came back to get the receipt. I'm not here. And Finn goes, it wasn't me, it was the Demon. You think Damian Priest is one of his wants to hear that?
Mommy can only referee with so much.
Listen to me. This is why I asked the question. I said, man,
we have a real discussion about the Demon. Has it lost its luster?
see. I don't think so. Because of and
Okay.
as crazy as it sounds, and I'm gonna tell you just why I think it hasn't. It's because thanks to he whose name should not be mentioned, because every time we mention his name, we have technical difficulties. It was a sideshow attraction in
Mm-hmm.
NXT, something fun. Every pay-per-view, it was all right, let's look forward to the paint. Let's see how he matches the theme. You know, that Sherlock Holmes theme at one point in time, and
That chainsaw was weird, but we
yeah,
liked it.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre / like it was the Jack the Ripper, jump off because they was in London and there was a lot of callbacks to, you know what I mean, to London folklore and
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean. But then when he got to the main roster, they was like, no, let's use this on special occasions. We're not just going to keep bringing this out every pay per view. You're gonna have this demon manifest, right? So and because we have got it in scarcity,
Mm-hmm.
the evolution of what that means can go a lot further than you realize, but it's got to be some sort of end game, right? So it's like,
Mhm.
well, where now you're trying to figure out where that line is. You know what I mean? Where is that line? Where do you decide that? I know there's animosity in Judgment Day. They keep playing nice with each other, but after a while, somebody's going to get caught slipping. Somebody's going to cause a conflict. Somebody is going to cause, I don't know what it is, and it's like after a while with these factions, there's a reason they don't stay together because after a while, people want to strike out on their own. Right? You had legit four main event talent caliber players in one faction. And I'm just saying to myself, how long can you realistically keep these guys together? Look at DX. We had such a short time with DX because Triple H decided he wanted to be the game. He's like you talk about play the game, I am the effing game. You know, the infamous interview he had with JR. Like, who's to say that doesn't happen with somebody else? With think about it, any one of those four people in the Judgment Day could fit away at any point in time. Damian Priest could smell himself because he drew with Bad Bunny, because he has that contract briefcase. Rhea Ripley is the women's world champion. She's like, well, I don't need none of y'all anyway. I don't have to worry about that. I need to focus on my title. Dirty Dom thinks he has Rhea in his back pocket. So what if he starts smelling himself saying, bro, it doesn't matter because mommy's by my back and I'm the North American champion for now. Like who? And then what if Finn Balor goes, man, forget all of y'all. I was here first and I'm better than everybody. I'm the leader of the group. I don't want to got rid of Edge. You know what I mean? Who and I should be world champion because the stuff he did as far as his interviews with Seth Rollins, that whole segment they did a couple weeks ago, I was like, man, that was really, really good. And this is personal for Finn. He's not about winning that title. He's like, you took my career away from me. And I never bounced back. Like we took some realism, right? Because he kind of never did, right? Finn never really got back to that main event status that he was supposed to be projected to. He got there, don't get me wrong. But, he went back. He had at one point in time between his first Universal Championship that he had to relinquish, he had to go back to NXT and get his luster back. He turned heel for the first time. And he showed a different dimension of who he was. Like he had to do that for a reason. So, like, who's to say that now that he's back, like, yo, I'll do what I have to do to start over? It's because of something that I just naturally do. I don't know. I'm not convinced that these guys are going to stick around together.
I mean, you're not off, because like I'm. And then Seth Rollins already said, like, I don't know if y'all got a chance to check out his interview with Logan Paul.
I haven't checked out yet.
Like he's got some.
He thinks he got some injuries, right? He's banged up.
Some injuries, yeah, and it might be a time where Becky might be like, "Yo, you gotta go home."
It's best to do it now than have another serious injury like tearing something.
It's like he's proved his point. Yeah, and I know he probably want to get to WrestleMania, but he proved his point. Not to mention he's going out there. Huh?
Let him
heal. And that's
there you go. Bingo.
He might be trying to get Survivor Series to go against Roman.
Yeah,
but
he might be trying to hold off today.
But listen, but even still, that time between now and Survivor Series is enough for his body to try to recuperate.
Or here's another wrinkle: do you want to see Finn versus Roman at Survivor Series?
Wow, what if it's Finn versus Damian Priest at Survivor Series for the title?
Yeah, because you remember
War Games. The Judgment Day versus the Bloodline
War Games.
War Games. Yeah, War Games. And JD McDonough picks up the extra man, and there you go.
See, that's the part I'm not really sold on so much as far as JD McDonough is concerned, because I'm like, I think at one point they teased it, but now you got to start from scratch. You know what I mean? It's like
they took another direction,
right?
Oh no, I'm just saying just for War Games to make it more person.
I mean, yeah, but it's how the mainstream audience is. After a while, you got to have some type of follow up. And I'm saying to myself, like, the Judgment Day is not meant to be a legacy faction. Like the Four Horsemen was a legacy faction because you just
Okay,
plug and play. You plug and play members. The NWO, LWS is almost you know what I mean. The legacy factions. We're just the Bullet Club is a legacy faction. Whoever's up next, whoever puts on a jacket and two sweets it up, and it's like. Where do you naturally draw the line? But it's tough to say. It's tough, but I'm just with everything going on. Like I said, this build up, man, this road to SummerSlam is really throwing me off. But man, good conversation. To Judgment Day, I'm telling you, I got eyes on the Judgment Day. Like more than the Bloodline for once. I'm telling you, I got eyes on the Judgment Day. There's too much going on. They're involved in too many things, and I'm like, yo, something's up. Like Damian Priest has been really, really quiet into himself a lot lately, and I'm just like, man, something is off. But like I said, we'll pick this back up next week. But gentlemen, this is the last thing we'll talk about. Like I said, I promise we're wrapping up because Brian has got to draft tomorrow. Is there anything that needs to happen at SummerSlam this year? Like this has to happen, or what you call it. Like, for instance, the way Brock lost the match at SummerSlam last year in his spots with the tractor, we needed that. That needed to happen because it didn't make Brock look weak in a loss. It looked like he just got outmatched and outnumbered, which showed one that he's human, so it can be done, and two, it made the Bloodline look like $1 million. But even Brock, it made Brock like, first of all, come out there with a freaking tractor. Like, and he flipped the goddamn ring over like that. That's a memorable moment, right? So it's like, is there anything like that needs to happen at this year's SummerSlam?
So I'm gonna say this while Brian is thinking of it. That's that was part of my SummerSlam thing on the show. We need entrances because we got the WrestleMania entrance, and I like a big over the top entrance. I like something different, but that's one thing. But as far as wrestling,
we're not getting them entrances because of the way they keep setting up full field. They're trying to put as many butts in those seats as possible. They're not doing no elaborate stage. They're just doing like a little bit of screen and big aisles. They said we're gonna fit as many bodies in this place as possible.
Bro, that joint was crazy last year. But it also sucked. You couldn't see.
But this is what I think needs to happen, and I'm gonna go with Lita returns to help Becky.
So you think that needs to happen?
Because Becky,
I don't hate that.
Becky got to keep fighting off Zoe. She needs an equalizer.
That's true,
and that'll lead to if you're going to keep this going with them to another match, a tag team match down the line.
Brother Brandon. You might have a point right there. And the reason why I say that, because if y'all been paying attention to Lita's Instagram, Lita actually been like not cooking. She been in the kitchen though, and not. I gotta be careful with that.
Nah, yeah.
I just realized
it's 2023.
Yeah, anybody who know me know better.
Yeah, no doubt.
I like that. I'm gonna use it, but like not cooking, but in the kitchen.
but what I mean is, Lita been like hitting the indies. Doing a little stuff here and there,
getting reps in,
and she could be, just one more match, like the ongoing notion about Lita that I've been noticing from a lot of people is either it's not so much that she ain't got it, it's just that her style now, where she just can't do it where she used to, and there's people out there who's doing it better. Facts, like Trish Stratus was never a high flyer, so she could still work her same style essentially. Lita was a high flyer, but neck injuries and stuff. She can't do the same stuff.
She can't
do a tornado DDT off the top rope.
Yeah, she can't be Lita that we fell in love with.
She can't do a from the top rope to outside of the ring.
Bingo. And now you got people like Io Sky and everybody else who can do that. So it's like.
And do it at high level.
It's not fair to say she can't keep up necessarily. It's just that it's just other women who can do what she was doing.
Right. No, it makes sense.
But here's my other thing, and I know you want to get back to that. Talking to Mickie James over the weekend, and she made a good point about how her and Melina both said they're glad that this is now happening with women because we could have a Stone Cold, a Rock, Randy Orton, Edge, all of these older guys, as in age-wise, not necessarily, because I'm just saying, like, not their experience, but as soon as the women hit a certain age, it's frowned upon them coming back. So thank you that Trish come back, and Mickey James is still in that space that she's wrestling because a few years ago that was a no-no. So now we got women like Michelle McCool who's still out there. That now is this opening the door for her to come back, because we welcome back the men with a title run. And I'm still going to say it. I still want Trish to get to that title some way, shape, or form. I just don't know which title now, because I don't want her near Rhea, but I don't want her near.
I think with the women, it's definitely. I think the women is definitely wide open for Trish to have that moment, though. That's what I mean. Because
one more, yo, that's it.
I want her to have it. I do. I need
the
one
good
more.
guys. Thank you, Trish T-shirt.
But we don't need her. I don't know if we need her with Mommy right now.
She's got to get but see, think about it though. If she was, you would have an excuse because of the issues with Judgment Day. You know what I mean? Because think about it, she could lose the title and it might not be her fault. Imagine, Brandon, you're the champion right now, and the Realm has a triple threat match, and I pin Brian, right? And it's like, well, god dang, you know what I mean?
Put yourself over, brother.
Always.
And then I go on a rampage and I just destroyed everything, and I start a downward spiral until I get my title back.
Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like it's with the people that have momentum. When they lose, as long as it makes sense, where it's like, okay, well, it makes sense for you to lose because it wasn't your fault. Like Brock Lesnar losing because they've had to flip the ring, they buried him under everything. It was 3-on-1. Also, in theory, it makes when he loses, it doesn't make him look bad because it's like, well, who's gonna win? Like, god dang it, he's human.
He had too many odds to get. That's just too much. He couldn't fight off everything.
Yeah, because you find a way to make it make sense. So if she decides to take time off or whatever the case may be, it's like, well, why does Rhea? She just got it. Why would she lose so quickly? Well, so maybe the plan is she'll get it back in a month and a half, or we'll build to her getting her second or third title run, whatever it may be. But this has to happen for us to get to that point before. And we're looking at it with LA Knight. Like we're watching Triple H purposely. Like the more he's not where fans want him to be, the more he's gaining the sympathy for the fans that watch him. And he's becoming over organically. And I'm like, bro, once they realize that he's a moneymaker, it's going to be off to the races. So it's like there's these things that we don't expect, but as long as it makes sense going forward, you're like, man, anything could potentially happen.
All right, talk to your boy. I want to know. I asked this question earlier, and I've been getting some heat. But I want to know, because
you've been doing it since we've been going to these Ring of Honor shows. Brian used to go to Ring of Honor shows and be a heel too. By the way, you just like drawing heat.
I promise you, I'm not trolling. I'm not being a heel. I want to know.
Being a heel.
It's pretty cool. You know that was a good moment. But what I want to know, and I trust y'all, so I gotta ask y'all, why is LA Knight so over?
I've been trying to figure it out. Thank you.
What is it about him?
And where did it come from?
Everybody loves and wants him to be in the main event.
Where did it come from? It just happened out of nowhere.
It was. I'm gonna tell you right now. It's organic sympathy. It's because he's one of the few guys that WWE will not give you. They're not giving the people what they want immediately, right? If somebody got over. When Daniel Bryan got over, they at least let him beat somebody else. They just didn't give him the title, right? You saw him every week, and whatever the case may be. LA Knight is barely featured, and the less they feature him, the more people want him. He comes out there, he delivers on a mic. He has his moments, right? Because that's what they are. They're moments, and he relates to the fans. Think about it. He comes out there and he caters to the fans the same way the Rock and them did. He comes out with a catchphrase. He comes out there. He has crowd participation. He has the LA Knight, like he used to do Eli Drake joint, and like fans look forward to that's like if Road Dogg was coming out there and you didn't give him a microphone, and you love to see Road Dogg talk his talk, do his dance, and all that kind of stuff, and then you weren't allowed to see him every week, and the more you're not allowing them to see him every week, the more the fans are getting pissed. Like, we want to see LA Knight. And the more it's almost becoming cool because he's like got this natural sympathy factor going for him because they when you watch somebody that over purposely lose, it's like, come on, man, they're doing this on purpose. Because imagine they're sacrificing now for what you can probably get at the Rumble. You know what I mean? Or anywhere else. Like we saw it with Gunta. You know what I mean? He made it all the way to the end of the Rumble, and he was like, "Oh, this dude might have a chance of winning." Cody Rhodes throws him out. They had me convinced Cody Rhodes was going to win WrestleMania. The story was written already, and then he goes there and he loses. You know what I mean? So it's like it doesn't surprise me what Triple H is doing when it comes to LA Knight. Like I said, I just think the fans, the less they give him, like he comes out in dark matches in between commercials, beats up Hurt Row, and all of a sudden Hit Row, whatever they call themselves.
That was he called him
Hurt Row. You beat up Hit Row, and all of a sudden the clip goes viral on YouTube. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. He wasn't that over in NXT, you know what I mean? But it's like and
it came out after that pitch black Mountain Dew match. It was like, oh, LA Knight.
He was starting to get over doing that part because he was so funny making fun of Bray Wyatt and his promos. Remember that? Like people were starting to cheer him a little bit. Like, you know, Bray Wyatt be out there Bray Wyatt would be out there getting deep and philosophical and doing his gimmick, which we never really fully got. And the LA Knight would come out there and
Bray Wyatt don't get his gimmick.
No, he would throw his jabs out there and kind of clap back a little bit. And everybody's like, "Oh, this dude's clever. This guy's funny. This guy's, you know, unique." And then he comes out there with his "Let me talk to you." He comes out there with his yeah. He comes out there with his little fake people's elbow. He comes out with his LA Knight. Like he caters to the audience.
But he got creative player number 10 music.
They tried to change it though. You know, they tried to change it. He definitely got that random freaking garage band music. Brian, you know about that, don't you?
No, I'm back. I think. Am I back?
Yeah, you good. Yeah, you good. Yep.
All right.
Yeah, it was a brief freeze. We're talking about LA Knight's music. Yeah, he said he got creative player 3's music, and I said it's something fresh out of garage band. I said you were familiar with that, aren't you?
Is he frozen again?
I think he is frozen.
I think he's frozen. But I don't get me wrong, I do like LA Knight. I was happy that he made it to WWE. I hate to say these backstage rumors because the internet has ruined wrestling about, oh, some people backstage aren't happy with him. Okay. That Brock Lesnar left out, walked out, but yet, or Ronda Rousey, the Mountain stuff, all these people difficult. It's such a loose term thrown around. Oh, he's not liked backstage. But hey, the fans like him. I'm just waiting to see his payoff. I just can't figure out when he just started getting over.
I don't think they had a payoff. I don't think they expected him to be as popular as he's been. You know what I mean? And it's difficult for a lot of fans to. I don't know, man. I don't know if they can just accept it or what it is, but he's just organically taking off. And like I said, it's this forbidden fruit theory. The more they don't give us LA Knight, the more people want to see him. So I don't know, man. It's crazy.
I'll be interested to see what happens. I think they're going to do something crazy with that U.S. title, but I think it's about to be the U.S. title is about to get some love that it deserves.
We'll listen to me. We'll definitely see, and we'll definitely stay tuned for it. Brian, H, are you good?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you. We're just about to wrap up, man. We just finishing up the conversation about LA Knight and just kind of we tried to answer. I don't know how much of the answer that you actually got from us, but we were trying to answer, you know, what it is about LA Knight and just I think overall the way he gives to the fans and just the fact that they won't give us LA Knight is that makes him it's just this natural sympathetic feeling from the crowd that's like, no, we want him now, and we can tell they're using like us being smart marks. We can tell you're holding somebody back, so that makes us like him even more. And they're like, well, shoot, if this is working, why not? Let's do this until people really want to pay some money for him.
Because the thing is, like, all right, I think back to Stephanie and Triple H's promo, and remember when they said, yeah, you guys don't want to get what you want. Well, should we trust you? Remember they started trolling. They started doing the Fandango thing.
Yeah. That was brutal.
I guess because like I'm still trying to see what is it about LA Knight that's got everybody going crazy. You know, like I'm like, all right, he cool, you know, but I don't need to see him. Like I'm not going crazy. I don't see him. You know what I mean? The stuff is real cool. Like that's fun to say.
But you see his shirt sales, right? He's right behind Cody in the merchandise sales.
What, he's like
I don't know.
4 and 5 or something.
Yeah, I don't,
the
bro. I don't know what's going on. Like, what the heck? Like,
the
dude,
Bloodline was still number one. Well, I shouldn't say Bloodline. Roman was still
Roman,
number
yeah.
one. Cody
Of course.
got number one. I was like, whoa. Like, that was a shock to me to see Cody had the number one spot still post Mania.
Yeah, Cody's found a way to be a baby face that people like still love in 2021 or 23. You know, and the guy AEW was a heel.
Bro, I'm telling you, man, he's on his Lex Luger vibes, the Lex Express era.
Well, I don't know if y'all watch. I think it's Cultaholic Wrestling. They did a giveaway, and 8-year-old boy got it because his mom submitted a thing, and because they knew Cody, they took him to the show. It was over there in Wembley, the show that they had at Wembley. The kid was there at the show. Cody texted him, said, bring him backstage. He was backstage. I said, this is the stuff that's going to keep Cody in the Cena realm of, I'm still doing this for kids. They love me. I'm going to keep kissing his belt, passing it out to a kid. As long as my music is still people singing along, no matter what I do, I can still finish my story.
Yeah, dude. Man, it's
we jumping around. Oh, y'all, is it just me or y'all just switching?
Nah, I
y'all
was just
keep
trying
flipping spots on the screen.
I jumped off the gimmick here and then went to the phone, and now I'm back.
No, that's what pros do. You feel me? But
that's
I mean,
you know what? And I'm gonna tell you this, and I know we got to wrap it up. Melina said, heels control everything, so that's why she liked it when she was heel. She could control the pacing, control everything. That's why Hollywood Brian Hogan is the heel.
Yeah, look, Hollywood Brian H. All you fans don't trash in this ring.
See,
you can stick it,
I was
brother.
like, I need I was gonna get a Hollywood Hogan shirt, but now I can't because it'll never stop.
Oh,
you need a Hollywood Brian H.
It's definitely so like I'm working on Brother Hughes 100% gump proof.
Can you do King of the Gumps?
And then we got to. Oh, trust me, we're gonna come up with all new stuff. And then we got to get Brian H's Hollywood Brian H, some type of Hollywood Hogan-esque type shirt, and we're gonna get it so you can slit it down the middle and hit one of these. And just But
hey, look, I'm Hogan's last black fan, so
yeah, man, it's not many. It's not many, man. He's an island by himself, man. But
I did public relations work for 6 years. Let me talk to him. I can fix this thing for him.
I don't think it's him you have to fix it for, man. I just think it's the outside audience is just not trying to bite.
He's not saying the right stuff, bro.
That's fair.
We learned how to like pivot and stuff. Look, it's funny. As much as I hated public relations at Morgan, I worked in it for so long. I mean, that's where all the fine women was at, but still,
they definitely was all in doing PR. Right? You ever noticed that? Like, we need a PR.
Yes.
Go figure. We know. Let me guess. You're public relations major, huh?
It makes sense. Huh? I was just saying, now we connect the dots.
Yeah, didn't see that coming. Well, of course,
right. I mean, but don't get me wrong. There were some ones that was in the in TV production as well.
I think it's definitely. I think it's more now than it's ever been, because back in the day, it wasn't. It wasn't as prevalent because they were all in their little. Never mind. Never mind. It's just, we're not going to reminisce too much about the ladies of the public relations era during that time. But they definitely, you can tell who was in public relations and who wasn't.
Facts.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully we answered your question, Brother Brian. I think it's something that we're probably going to end up having to talk about again as we kind of figure out what's really going on. And I don't know, this is weird. It's like it doesn't make sense right now, but I think eventually it will. And us being guys of superior wrestling intellect, I think when the time is right, we'll be able to kind of dissect, the beginning, the middle, and hopefully not the end, but the climax of the height of the popularity that a guy like LA Knight will eventually find himself. But listen, if you want to follow us on all social media platforms, remember it's at Wrestling Wrealm. Subscribe to our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube at the Wrestling Wrealm. YouTube.com/Wrestling Wrealm. Brothers, it's been another one of those thought-provoking nights, and I appreciate you all, man. Like I said, next week is our official preview show. And
did we lose them again?
I think we lost him again. It's okay.
Okay.
But next week is our official preview show where we're going to sit down and really, really dissect the matches. We'll give some predictions, and we'll just prepare our minds and our hearts to go into SummerSlam weekend. But Brother Brandon, you have anything you want to say before we get out of here to the fans?
Of course I do, but I do want to say this, and I'm saying it on the Wrestling Realm now because I'm gonna put them on the spot. Coming soon on Championship Culture will be Who Wore It Better, the Big Eagle edition. So get yourself ready, the real Dwayne Alley, because this is gonna have to include. I already got you on board. We're gonna need you for this one too, because I want to hear Who Wore It Better, the Big Eagle edition. Don't you worry, it's coming soon. Once we lock down this date, I can tell you this, it's going to be on a Tuesday. That's not a spoiler. That's a guarantee. It'll be on a Tuesday. For Who Wore It Better.
it's just, man, that title is such a short-lived title. It bothers me.
Yep. But I think I know who you're going to say wore it better, but let's save it for Championship Culture.
Okay, I was about to say, you want to take a guess right now, or should I just?
No, we're going to save it for Championship Culture because this is going to be an interesting one. So be on the lookout for that. I got a couple other shows with myself and Hugh are working on. I think you'll be happy with what's coming next. But I could definitely give that spoiler of Who Wore It Better will be coming, and it might turn into a whole series because, come to find out, a lot of people want to know who wore certain things better. We shall see.
No, definitely. Head over to youtube.com/The Wrestling Wrealm under the Championship Culture playlist, man. You listen to me. This is the content that these conversations matter to us as far as our community is concerned. So definitely, Championship Culture is something you do not want to miss. It is one of the hottest shows that's out right now. It's doing amazing numbers for us. And trust me, if you really, really, really want to learn about championship titles, championship replicas, the culture of it, the dates, there's so much to, man, that Brandon goes into, man. It's just like, and it's such, him and Brother Hugh just produce some amazing content each and every week. So go back and binge it. And I cannot wait to be a part of the conversation of who wore better, the Big Eagle. Because I got some, I don't know if I told the story. Brian has heard the story 1,000 times about my beef with the why I don't have the Big Eagle Championship replica right now. There's a very specific reason, and it's a story that I always tell, and it has something to do with my brother. And I know we're supposed to forgive because God always forgives us, but that's one thing I have yet to forgive him for to this day. And I remind him every day, like, bro, this is your fault. We don't have this title. But I'm not gonna get into that. I'm gonna save that story because every championship has a story, and best believe the Big Eagle has quite a big one for me. So, man, I'm looking forward to it. That's gonna be really exciting. So, Championship Culture, ladies and gentlemen, youtube.com/The Restaurant. Brian, any last words before we get out of here, good brother?
Just follow me at Brian H. Waters. I will be on the ground at Jobber Slam. So make sure y'all catch the content there, doing double duty, doing Ring of Wrestling content, Wrestling Realm content. I'm Brian H. Waters. That's what I do.
Because that's what I do.
And I'm looking to take a vacation soon, but we'll get all this situated.
Good, brother. You definitely deserve it, man. But ladies and gentlemen, join us next week. Like I said, for our SummerSlam preview show, where we'll go more into depth about the matches and just SummerSlam at all, man. It's going to be a fun weekend. It's going to be a fun show. And we look forward to coming back. Thank you for hanging out with us. I know we ran a little bit late, but thank you for hanging with us and joining us each and every week. Like I said, catch up on all of our content on youtube.com/The Wrestling Wrealm. Follow us on all social media platforms. Trust me, you do not want to miss the shenanigans. Brother Hugh will be back sooner rather than later, brother. Drew Willingham, Lynn, Janelle, everybody that support us. We thank you. We cannot thank you enough.
One last word. I just tweeted this. The Orioles play the Yankees this weekend at Camden Yards. Y'all can save $20 on them tickets because they're gonna be a hot ticket because guess what? The Orioles in first place and the Yankees in last or close to it.
This Yankees are coming to town, man.
Yeah, so if I know it's a lot of Yankee fans here, but did y'all see real quick? Did y'all see that the Orioles turned Tampa Bay in the Camden Yards South? And
bro, everybody was talking about that. Like I got to work. My coworker was like, "Do you notice that? It seemed like it was a home game, didn't it?" I said, "Heck yeah!" I don't know what was going on. Everybody flew to Tampa for the weekend.
They was like, "Look, we're gonna have our vacation, watch the birds." Where before, like this has always been Yankee Stadium or Fenway Park South. Nah, homie. you know. But like when I went to the Orioles game, when I watched them beat the Yankees last January, I mean last September before Battle Club show, it was some black and orange in there, you know. There's definitely some black and orange in there. But yeah, save y'all $20.
That's right. Hell, the SeatGeek, right? SeatGeek.com. That's right. This is the weekend, man. It's the Birdland Takeover. Join us next week. We shall be back. But we out of here in the meantime. Peace.
Houston, we have a problem.